So what do you got here you're messing with, Chris?
This is where the zert fitting goes is all wallered out. So I'm gonna fill this hole in and just drill a new one. Hopefully I still got good ground.
I think you're on fire again. You're definitely on fire again.
Hey, I'm getting coronavirus proof here.
So right there is an oil cooler out of a 3.6 liter V6. So this ran yesterday. Little Tyler hopped on. We're waiting on coolant to get delivered right now. So there's the oil filter housing, and it's under the intake right there. This is actually a pretty easy job. So we got that one pretty much done yesterday. Just gotta get the cooling system filled up and bled on this as soon as they get coolant delivered out here. You're on fire. You're on fire more. You're really on fire.
I ain't got the tire on fire yet. Let's get cool.
So Little Tyler's other project yesterday was pulling injectors on the Sturmax. This is what, an LB7?
Yeah.
So these are the ones that are under the valve cover completely and kind of suck. They're not external.
Yeah.
How bad were they?
They weren't that bad. I figured out a little trick. But you take like a air hammer, like a bunch, with the side that goes in the air hammer fits in the fork.
Yeah.
Where the injector hits, if you tap with a hammer, it pops right out.
Okay. So I believe they're running into the city right now to go get you the injectors for this, correct?
Yeah.
Get these thrown back in and put back together. So a little bit of an update here on Sage's pre-war. All the leaf springs have been out for a couple weeks, and they are getting custom made for this thing. So we sent with one front and one rear. So they're getting the leaf springs made up for this thing for us. So as soon as those get back, this will go back together. We only wanted to take one side part at a time. That way we got the other side to see how it goes back together, and then the axles are still kind of supported in there. We've got the yoke off the end, or the transmission on the output side of it. The U-joint hooks too, that was broke. So we're waiting on getting one of those sourced. And then once the thing gets those back on the wheels and back on the ground, we got a bunch more work that we're going to be knocking out on this thing. And then back here we got a Honda. It's got a bad crank seal. It's putting oil all over the timing belt, so this thing's going to get a crank seal, timing set on it. I think those parts are supposed to be here later today or possibly tomorrow. So we'll get this thing knocked out too. We're kind of in a holding pattern right now, waiting on parts on a bunch of vehicles, so that kind of sucks. I don't know if we've talked about this black Cummins back here yet. So this is a 6-speed truck. It's got a South Bend dual disc clutch in it. Had compounded turbos, now it's just running a single fleece Cheetah. It had dual CP3 pumps. We removed the second pump, it's down to a single CP3. And we're putting a set of smaller injectors in it. We pulled the ones he had in it. I think they were like 250s. I think we're going to go with some like 50% over injectors in it. So this thing used to be ridiculously powerful, but he's actually using this as a property truck now and pulls a trailer with it regularly. So with the amount of power it was making, it was just constantly having problems breaking parts, especially the transmission. So we're toning this thing down for this guy so he can use it. Alright, so this is that 6.4 liter Powerstroke that the dealership dropped off with us because they couldn't get it to run. We fixed the wiring issue again that caused the no start problem, but every now and then we're having a little bit of a hiccup at idle, and we're seeing a cylinder 6 contribution issue, but it's very sporadic. At least cylinder 6 is the one that's throwing it. So I've got the P1000 in here, and we're wondering if we have fuel issues right here. Desired and actual on the fuel rail pressure. So we're running right with it here. It's actually doing over. It was commanding 10,000. We got 12,000 psi there. It's hard to get a good fuel pressure reading when I'm just sitting here free revving it because the truck's not loaded. But yeah, we're over 10,000 psi fuel pressure on the rail there too. I'm gonna go drive it real quick and watch fuel rail pressures and see what we've got going on. We do have a little bit of concern because we've been hearing some weird noises out of the air dog lift pump on this truck, that we might be having a lift pump going out of it. And that could explain some of the drivability issues we're seeing after we got it running here. But as you can see, we have no check engine light anymore. We do have the wiring problem fixed. It was a no start. We'd fixed this truck prior, and the customer decided to trade it in, and a few months later it was having another wiring issue. Dealership couldn't figure it out, so they sent it back to us. So I'm gonna get set up here. We're gonna take it around the block. I gotta make sure they put a plate on this thing first. They towed it to us from a dealer, so I don't know if it's got a license plate, so I gotta see if they do or not. But if it does, we're gonna take it down the street. I'm gonna drive it around a little bit and watch those fuel pressure PIDs and make sure that we're keeping a good high pressure fuel supply to it like we're supposed to. All right, so we're just running through town here. Hopefully that's showing up okay for you guys. We're actually doing a little bit over commanded on the fuel pressure, so it's looking pretty good, at least at part throttle. Need to be able to get out of town here a little bit on a road with a little higher speed limit so I can get some load on it. Make sure it's gonna hold it at the top end. Speed limit in town's only 25 around Damo here, so I can't push it too hard here. All right, give it some throttle here. And it's got no problem making 24,000 psi fuel pressure. So we just called the dealership, asked them if they wanted us to tear into that little bit of a hiccup in it anymore. They said no. So we went ahead and just finished up our wiring repair on it. It's all tied up, sealed up. This one can get parked back across the street, and they're gonna send a rollback to come get it. I think this thing's going straight to auction, that's what they said. So if it starts and can run across the block, they're happy. They don't want to put any more money into it. So we'll go park it. A little bit of an update on the Cadillac too. They postponed Cletus and cars till I think the middle of August now. So that's probably gonna be sitting here for a while. I don't think we're gonna mess with it anytime soon. That truck needs an oil change, fuel filters, and we're gonna do all the brakes on this trailer too. I don't know how much we're gonna get to today though, because both of our bays are taken up right now with stuff that needs parts. You want to explain real quick what we're doing here? This was one of our off-road tool carts.
Actually, the first one I built.
Yeah, but we've had some issues with it. It may have.
I knew I was going to right off the get-go. I threw it together because I needed it. That's what it was.
We just had the casters welded on and with the tack and a bolt, and since then we made the welder off-road cart. We made my off-road tool cart. We've done a few more. We know some better ways to do it. So take some scrap today. We're gonna make a new frame for this. We're going to fix that bent upright and stuff.
I'm going to cut these off of it. I'm going to take angle that will sit down so this cart will actually sit into the new chassis that's getting made. And it's going to offset it and bring it up with some steel. And the wheels are actually going to be down like this. So our ground clearance is going to be lower, but the cart's going to be lower too. So it's going to be a lot more stable. And plus that making it wider, it's not going to want to be so tippy.
I haven't had a problem with mine yet, but I do know that if I'm not careful with my off-road tool cart, especially because mine has a drawer, if that drawer slides open at a bad time, it'll dump the cart. And that always sucks. That's the problem when you go to make a cart for off-road, though. You need big wheels to be able to roll it through the parking lot and stuff.
But you need stability, too.
Yeah, you need stability, and you need to try to keep it as low as possible. Luckily, the welder has a ton of weight, and just it doesn't move. But
well, I made it wider, too.
Yeah.
If you see how it's out wider, I made it, and I brought them further forward and backwards. I made the base of it a lot bigger because
if you guys have never built a cart like that, that welder, it rolls better than the factory one on a smooth floor rolling across the gravel parking lot here. It rolls like nothing.
It's
It
not
doesn't
even-
care about extension cords, doesn't care about air cords, it'll go over anything. But we do so much work outside here that we try to make sure that we've got carts and our welder and everything that can go out there.
Yeah, I weld on a lot of farm equipment and sprayers and combines and stuff that we can't fit in the shop. So when you got to work on them outside, you got to be able to take your tools to the job.
And this beats the hell out of using a cart like that one with some little tiny casters that struggle when you get a piece of floor dry under them.
What are you saying to me, you safety glass Nazi?
Well, if I don't warn you to wear safety glasses, everyone in the comments will. I actually didn't know you had them on this time. So another thing, Chris is talking about live streaming coming up soon here. Pulling the motor on that Mustang, that 2.3 Lima, and just using whatever parts we have around the shop other than maybe a fuel pump to get that skid steer running and convert it to a gas 4-cylinder from a diesel 3.
Mm-hmm.
Should be a fun project.
Yeah.
As soon as we get caught up with all the customer paying work right now, since we're starting to slow down a hair.
That.
Damn, those spot welds are in there.
Yeah, but they're coming. I mean, they're popping up. I may run through there and just graze the heads of them with the grinder. Knock them off.
Yeah, if I would have known, I would have brought my little air belt sander. You're going to be taking out spot welds today.
I didn't plan on it. That's not what was on my agenda for today, but I also thought that we were going to have some other stuff done already, but I'm still waiting on antifreeze.
Yeah, they're not in any hurry.
No.
So today is another thing we're showing. I mean, just because we're slow and waiting on parts to show up for a bunch of projects, we've got work to do, but we really can't work on anything right now, and we've had on and off storms, so we're trying not to do much out in the parking lot. But just because there's not work to be done doesn't mean there's not work to be done at the shop. I mean, we're here anyway. We've been cleaning lately. We've been doing stuff like this, that's shop improvement projects.
Well, I can't ever get my own projects and stuff done because when we're busy, I have to get the stuff done that pays the bills. I can't stop in the middle of it to make something a little nicer, up productivity, because this cart can now wheel outside for when we're working on stuff outside, and I just can't I can't pull myself away from doing diag and stuff like that keeps the bills paid and keeps things rolling. But I'm going to take advantage of this slow time while I'm waiting on parts and this and that and get my own stuff taken care of.
Yeah, anytime that you're slow in your shop, I mean, you're never slow when you stop and think about it. There's always that list of projects that you've always wanted to get to, or stuff you probably should get done that you've been putting off. So when you get a little slow time like this, like I said, we moved the workbench. We've got a new welding station set up in back. Little Tyler's done a ton of cleaning around here. You know, there is no real downtime in a shop. There's always something you can be doing.
Oh,
Hell, one of these days we might deal with a scrap pile.
when I get the Bobcat done. I appreciate that. I appreciate your concern.
I can't be recording, or can't have you getting hurt if I'm not recording.
About hit myself in the face. Alright, that one's popped. That one there should pop easier. I see the outline of it. Yeah. Do I see the outline of those? I'm gonna hit those a little more so they pop easier.
Oh great, there's wind. Alright, well that's going to be it for me for the day. It's like 2:30. And I don't think we're going to see parts before the end of the day to finish this stuff up. And I've got somebody who wants to buy some parts that I'm selling, so I'm going to go meet him and get those sold. So I just got back to the house here. In just a second, we're going to see a vehicle that I keep saying that I've been wanting to get on camera for a while. It's a single cab, short bed, F250 6.4 Powerstroke that a local landscaper owns. So that's not an option for that truck. You can either have an extended cab short bed or a single cab long bed. Those are the two shortest options. So somebody has had to make that truck. So that's pretty awesome.